having me. My name is Brian Coughlin, Superintendent for Public Works, Waste Reduction Division. I handle all your trash recycling issues, the little yard waste that you guys have, pretty much everything as far as code enforcement goes as well. So I'm here a little bit to talk about what's going to happen and a little bit about what's gone on in the last 5 years that's pretty much triggered the discussions that we've had and the policy changes and times and stuff that we're going to move forward with. 5 years ago, obviously, there was a little unnerving discussion going on about losing a trash day. So you guys went from Monday, Wednesday, Friday to Monday, Friday, but you added a recycling day, which turned out to be actually a benefit to the neighborhood. It actually doubled all the numbers. So it was really a good move as far as the environment goes. I know it was kind of tough at first, but it seemed like everybody pulled through, and it was an issue for a bit. That seemed to go away, and it's shown on all the numbers for the whole district, really, North End, Beacon Hill, most notably around here, because you could see how much cleaner the neighborhood was too on certain streets. And you just drove by, and there was less debris blowing in the street because you had that extra recycle pickup. That actually, I'm sure a lot of you kind of could notice that stuff as well. The first thing for first of all, the new contract for the trash starts July 1st. So Capital Waste will be back in city, the yellow trucks that you guys had 5 years ago, or 5 years and a month ago. So I have a bunch of flyers there too, we'll talk about those. Probably already seen some. So they're going to start July 1st. They're going to have the vehicles in here first thing in the morning, just like before. This time we're going to do a 6 o'clock start, city-wide. There's a lot of reasons for that, and there's going to be some opposition to that, I'm sure. Just like there was back when we took a day away, so we're going to work through a lot of things. And first off, before we talk about it, I can say that the city is dedicated to working with the residents and working with every neighborhood that's affected. And I can say that I'm around everywhere. I'm around this neighborhood. I'm around. My phone's on. My office is open. We want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with everything, and we want your neighborhood to be clean, and that's ultimately our goal. We're not trying to, we're not going away after July 1st. Thanks. So obviously, with a lot of the construction going on, all the extra cars on the road, schools, traffic, everything else, we've been seeing the trucks experience delays anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours on their routes during the day. And that's not just the North End. So you got, North End, Beacon Hill, all the district, pretty much the whole, from here all the way to Grove Hall and Roxbury is part of the same trash contract. So it's a very large contract that you guys are a piece of that puzzle. So we have to, in addition to all the other contracts that reach out, West Roxbury, Hyde Park, Brighton, Jamaica Plain, East Boston, South Boston. So there's a lot of area to cover, and there's a lot of trucks on the road that have to go to contracted facilities, which are in Saugus, Lynn, and Braintree. So for the trucks that come into the city and work and then have to go out of the city to dump out and come back to the city to finish, there's a lot of time wasted with the traffic. So we're trying to ease that a little bit by letting them get on the road before that traffic starts and get a good chunk of that route done within that hour, which it might not seem like a lot. But when you put a truck on with 2 guys on the back and they're moving through, it can save a lot of time, and we want to get the trucks off the street earlier. They work until 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night sometimes, and it shouldn't be that way. So that's the main reason for the 6 o'clock start. We can do questions and stuff after. I just want to jump right into the day change. So when we took that trash day away, we left on Monday and Friday because there was a lot going on 5 years ago. What we know will work, and we need you guys to have support with this, is when you move the Friday to Thursday, right? Now, if something happens on a Thursday by chance, there's somebody going to be around on a Friday. There's going to be a whole crew of trucks and public works inspectors, everybody around to handle that issue first thing in the morning Friday. Now, I don't want issues to happen, but if they do, there's that support behind it. If something happens now, and you call 311 on a Friday evening at 5 o'clock, you might not see a truck come get that bag of trash or those recycle bins till late Saturday or maybe Monday, just for efficiency's sake, because we don't have the personnel out there. So that's part of the reason why we moved it to Thursday. The other reason why we moved it to Thursday, so Monday, Thursday, so we can move the street sweeping to the day after trash. Whoever designed sweeping before the trash pickup, I have no words. So we need to get that sweep the day after the trash, so when the trash is in the curb, the sweeper can get to the curb. So that's probably the best reason why you want to switch, because we want to get the streets clean when we can. So Thursday sweeping will be moved to Friday. So Friday, to sum that up, now when your delivery trucks deliver on a Friday for the weekend, they're up to the curb. They're not in the middle of the road where you're coming the other way trying to go around and everybody's log jamming for like, 5-10 minutes waiting, and there's 10 cars behind them. No, you go, I'll go. No, there's none of that. So the truck should be to the curb. The trash trucks won't be around on a Friday. The trash won't be there, and there'll be no trash to step over. There'll be no tourists stepping over trash. There'll be no stepping over the trash themselves, going to get coffee or something. So the sidewalks will be cleaner. The Hokies will be out there sweeping by hand, the guys with the brooms and the shovels. So you're going to have, I think there's an increase of 4 for the whole summer. So there should be a total of 6, pretty much 7 days a week, staggered. So there's going to be people out there sweeping those sidewalks on the day where there's not trash, on the day you're used to having trash everywhere. And, the neighborhood's going to look better this way. I've been doing trash with the city for 5 years, but I've been doing trash for a long time, and I've been in the area, and I was here when you guys was just starting recycling, and there was bins tipping over and rolling around, and there was streets that really needed some work, but we've come a long way, and we're just trying to do things to help improve the neighborhood, and they have changes, and I understand that changes aren't always taking a while, but they're ones that are going to improve the neighborhood, not hurt the neighborhood. So I just wanted to say that. What else? I think that's all. That's all I gotta say. Then I know you guys take a lot of pride in the neighborhood. You guys live here. I want to drive through here and feel like I helped make it clean, at least. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
Just want to acknowledge you got a couple of good street sweepers here.
Good, great.
And they're doing their job, and they're personable. Patrick and Bill who work on it. Yeah, they're doing their job, and we really appreciate it. So,
I'll pass that over.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a really obvious question about this street sweeping, but I just want to make sure I understand. Because where I try to park my car, it is currently a first and third Thursday.
Yes.
So as of July, it's going to be, first and third Fridays,
That's
right?
correct.
Are they going to change the signs?
The signs there will be stickers put on the signs on the 30th of June. BTE will be up there with stickers replacing the Thursday with the Friday label. So the week will not change. The first and third, it will be the first and third, but it will be a Friday. Yep. Good.
My name is Ford Cavallari, and I'm obviously a member of NEWRA, but also the chair of the Alliance of Downtown Civic Organizations, of which has members like South End Forum and Bay Village and all that. And I did want to communicate on behalf of some of the other associations, if not NEWRA. A lot of folks are really mystified and upset that there wasn't more process involved in community involvement in the selection of the vendor of capital management, the yellow trucks.
Yep.
5 years ago, the contract was taken away from Capital, ostensibly because they did a bad job. If you talk to people in South End, Bay Village, they were delighted to switch to Sunrise because Capital had been, for lack of a better word, barfing in the punch bowl, and they're upset because they think we're going back to the past of a contractor that wasn't doing well. And not only was the result nauseating to them, but also the fact that it was just announced. Just no process, no let's meet with you, let's socialize this, just boom. we're changing contractors. So can you explain to me how we could have a process like that that's so opaque when we're supposed to be moving toward community involvement and more
Well,
things?
it is a public process. The city does everything by the procurement laws. It was an invitation for bid. Unfortunately, we only had 2 bidders bidding on the jobs, because it's such a large-scale job that you need a lot of capital, you need a lot of employees, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it. So there was the 2 companies that bid the job. 5 years ago, the same thing happened. There was 3 companies that bid the job, and Sunrise ended up being the low bidder based off of the law of the bid. So it's, you know, responsible and responsive also bidder.
So is the city required to hire the low bidder even if they have experience of bad performance from a previous period?
They're not required if there's something bad. You know what I mean? If there's like if somebody pulled their bonds, or if there's a, you know, something, if they just got up and left the city, you know, that kind of travels with people.
So there'd have to be extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, it's the lowest responsible and responsive bid.
Is there at least going to be a short leash of some sort with capital, knowing that they have a track
so
record?
if I could, like 5 years ago, I heard the voices in the South End. I don't know if you were in the South End Forum meeting at all.
Not the most recent one, but you'll have a doozy the next one you go to, I'll tell you
No, I
that.
was there this weekend, so thank you.
All right, okay.
I met with CFOX
Wait till you
yesterday.
get to
I know.
the other ones.
I know. So, but 5 years ago, even over here, there was, you know, there was no code enforcement with Public Works. Public Works came to public code enforcement came to Public Works when Mayor Walsh took office. Mayor Walsh put code enforcement in the Public Works realm. So now, and I fortunately now have control over the director and everybody on there. So we can actually, if we see issues on Prince Street, it's a disaster. Somebody went by and drove a bag of trash. I have the ability now to call a guy who works for me and send them right there. Before, then they were with ISD, so a lot of pushback, unfortunately, and that was before my time. But back in 5 years ago, when you're saying, you know, everything was different back then. I understand what they're saying in South Bend, and I understand that the capital was here and dealt with the North End residents also, so everybody has their own opinions. But, you know, having code enforcement with Public Works in 2014 made a huge difference. Getting away from the little blue bins that would make a mess everywhere, that made a huge difference. Being able to use clear plastic bags downtown and wrap everything up, to recycle more, less stuff in the ground, right? So there was a lot of improvements that were made when Mayor Walsh took office. It might not have been visible all the way, but now you look at the streets. I know these streets, some of them on trash day or the next day would look terrible. So, you know, there's obviously improvements to be made, and every contractor is going to have their little quip that you have to like kind of, you know, get on them. But, you know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I thought that I had read in one of the business magazines that there was only one bidder, and that people were interested in taking a contract. Is that true?
That is true for the recycling processing. So Casella over in Charlestown, they
Right.
were the only company that bid to take the city's recyclables.
The second part of that question is, I think that we probably would have more bidders if the city put in education so people recycle correctly, because half of the recycling in the North End, when I walk down the street, I can see it's contaminated, and they're losing money on that.
Yep.
So if you could, you know, educate the constituents about proper recycling, that would really
No, I agree.
be a bonus.
We are planning on doing a, you know, an actual education type wing, so to speak, of waste collection.
We'd like to work with you.
We can go into the neighborhoods. The reason, if I could, we didn't get more bidders because there are no more bidders. So the problem that
Because
we
they don't
have.
make money, because everything's
Well,
contaminated.
no, but they're not making money because they don't exist. So Casella exists, they can handle the material.
Mhm.
The city, the state, this country needs infrastructure. We are in trouble when it comes to getting stuff processed, getting recyclables. Casella just sorts them. They don't recycle it there, they send it to China. And I'm sure you heard the story about that now.
Right, they're not accepting it.
Right, so we're getting stuck with the costs of the city end because they can't get rid of it.
Right.
So we need either our own infrastructure here or somewhere locally. There needs to be some paper mills, there needs to be some, not necessarily mills here, but in the state somewhere, or in New England, really. They closed all these mills up, they closed the glass recycling places. So everything was going to China. Now we're looking, you know, and we got nowhere to go. So unfortunately, we have to pay the price for it.
Yeah.
And, you know, the price of everything has gone up. So we're in a pretty tough situation right now.
Yeah, I just got, I guess, a couple of concerns, I guess. One is, I feel like I'm kind of, at least in the neighborhood, and kind of aware of what's going on. Is there gonna be a bigger, broader push to get this out to the
There's a
bigger
postcard
group?
going through the mill tomorrow.
Okay,
You should have a postcard within the next couple of days.
okay,
This
great.
is gonna go through everywhere, every store. I got a lot of them coming in, so I'm gonna leave some here too. I've told other groups I've spoke to that, you know, I'm one person, but my division is relatively small. And besides the mailer, if you guys, you know, if you took one or two and you went to the coffee shop and you left one, it'd be great. You know, just trying to spread the word, or even, you know, Facebook, Twitter, all that.
And then I guess the other question I have is, I've worked really hard, at least in my immediate area on Prince Street, to get people to put their trash out in the morning as
Yep.
opposed to the night before.
Yep.
It's gonna be really hard for me to do that and tell them to get up at 5:30 to put their trash out. So there's
Yeah.
gonna be more going out, I guess, the night before. And I guess I'm really curious to see as we kind of evaluate this as it
Right.
works, what that really means to
Right.
more trash and more pickers and more birds
Sure.
kind of digging in the trash.
And that's a common response that we're getting to this, and it's, you know, it's understandable. If you when you leave here and you're walking down the street, there's a lot of trash out already.
There is, absolutely.
And I appreciate your effort to make, you know, that effort to get people to put it out the next day, maybe the day of. And you're not the only one, there's a lot of folks throughout the city that try to do that. Unfortunately, it's, you know, it's tough. You know, people work certain hours, they gotta put it out. You know, we'd love to, like, tell you exactly when the guy's gonna come, that doesn't happen.
Well, can you look into getting a staggered schedule so that neighborhoods that, like the North End and other downtown neighborhoods that may not have the storage facilities for barrels and carts
Yep.
and have rely on plastic bags,
Mhm.
could be picked up later in the morning as opposed to 6 a.m. in the morning? Because again, I think Sean's absolutely right. A 6 a.m. start time for a trash pickup means that far more many people in the North End are going to put their trash out the night before, which is something we're trying to deter, but it's not realistic if they're going to be picking up trash at 6 in the North End. Maybe,
But again, at the same time, they're not gonna be here at 6:01 in front of your house, of every house. So, you know, there's a.
But they could be.
but you don't know, they could be.
But if it's 7 o'clock, what time do you put your trash out now? That's it. You put it right out at 7?
Well, I do, I can't speak for everyone in the neighborhood.
No, I'm just saying, like, so it's an hour, but, you know, it's gonna be off the street sooner. I don't know if you want it out there later, we can talk internally, I can talk about with Chief of Streets.
If you were to ban pickup the night before, I think more
Well,
people
yeah.
would have an appetite for an earlier pickup or a later pickup,
Yeah.
but
I mean, the other thing,
the goal should be to keep trash off the street for as long as, to have it on the street for as little time as possible. Yeah.
Right.
But this doesn't do that.
Well, it's, I don't know.
And Capital had a real failure at that. I mean,
What is that?
Capital Waste, that was one of the number one things that these other groups identified, they were really bad at, is you know, the streets were filthier afterwards. And so that's one of the reasons why the process is done, and we understand you're not going back. But the next time you decide to change vendors, I would really suggest that you solicit input from the community rather than just having the open bid process, which, yes, we could, if we wanted to, call the right people, get the RFIs and the RFPs. But I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you coming here before rather than after the contract is awarded.
Yep.
Last question from me. Last time, under Sunrise, there was a split contract, wasn't there? There were a couple of vendors that were used in the city. It's not all Sunrise last time around.
No.
Yeah, you come in the.
It was Sunrise, this right currently.
Yeah.
Current, for the whole city?
Currently Sunrise is downtown, District 1 and 10 is what, you're part of 1 and 10.
Yeah,
And then Capital had the rest.
my understanding is that this time when the bid was offered,
Yep.
it was like all or nothing. So Sunrise was really good at sort of the downtown area.
Yeah,
Because downtown and West Roxbury, very different kind of trash pickup. And this time, my understanding is the contract was offered as, you're gonna do you're gonna bid on the whole city.
so if I could explain
Sure,
it for you.
please.
So the contracts, there are 5 trash contracts in the city of Boston. District 1 and 10 is downtown and Roxbury. You guys fall in the downtown area. District 2 and 4, Jamaica Plain and Brighton. That's one separate contract. 3 and 7, North and South Dorchester. 6 and 8, West Roxbury Hyde Park, and 5 and 9 is East Eve and South. So there always been as 5 different contracts. Whether or not bids come in for all 5 that are cost effective and better for the city financially, in the tune of $11 million, then that's, you know, you can't like justify it with all the increases. The cost of recycling went up almost by $5 million. Okay, so we're trying to cut what we can.
I understand, but I mean, when the other vendor clearly failed last time,
But
you know, that's the issue.
as well.
And that's what you'll keep running into. And let's give them a chance. But all I'm saying is I would really hope that you would have some metrics for them to understand if they're failing, particularly in
We
this district.
certainly do. We have reporting, we can tell by the cases that come through the system. In District 1,
Right.
in District 10, you guys, not necessarily just the North End, but you guys were part of about 14,000 complaints last year.
And you'll have a three,
So, I'm not gonna, you know, just, for, you know, but I understand, you know, but it doesn't just come down to who's who and, you know, who can do it. I mean, it's a lot of money, there's a lot of taxpayer dollars out there.
but to be clear, right now, Capital has all districts. It's
That's right.
citywide.
July
They
1.
won on everything, and we no longer have multiple
July 1.
vendors. Okay.
Yep.
It just
Yep.
feels good to me to have competition, but that's okay.
I would love to have more competition.
Yeah.
I would love it if there was 10 companies that bid the job. Unfortunately, we had 2, and then we only had 3 companies bid the trash. Actually, 2, basically. So it was kind of like, all right, well, we have enough, you know, we had to kind of like tell ourselves we were gonna go with the trash and stuff. But I totally hear you, we can talk more, and I'll get your name and number and stuff.
Thank you.
I just suggest something,
Yeah.
because, you know, putting out the trash at different times, these guys are really organized, the trash guys. If we can get an idea that they're gonna come down House Street between 8 and 9 in the
Yeah.
morning, and Charter Street between 6 and 7,
Yeah.
if we have an idea where it's relatively standard, you know, and I know these guys have a pattern, then maybe that might mitigate any problems of putting the trash out the night before, if we know that generally they come between 8 and 9
Right.
on House Street. So if they
We
can
can work
devise
with that.
some sort of broad schedule, it might
Yeah,
really help.
we can work towards that.
Because I just know that they have very strict patterns.
Sure, no, they should, if you get
Yeah.
the same guy driving the same route every time with the same truck.
Exactly.
You
So
just
it
do
might-
your route and that's it, but unfortunately, you have injuries, accidents.
Oh,
things
I know,
happen.
I know, keep
Whether,
it 100%.
you know, there's always a
That's
wrench.
why
I hear
you
you.
have an hour window.
Yep,
there,
no, I
something
know.
like that.
Just,
Would it make any sense if they picked up the recycling first? Because that could be left overnight. It's not going to attract the rats, and then you could have the regular pickup, people could put it a little later because the truck would come.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to have the recycling coming around 10 or 11
Yeah.
and the rubbish pickup so early in the morning. Have it the other way around. When people get up to go to work, they put their rubbish out. The recycling can be put out at night because it's not going to attract the rats. Just have them flip.
Other kinds of rats, maybe, I'm not.
Isn't that a different company though?
What's that?
Yes, that's what he said.
Yeah. We have the human.
Well, it's the same company picking up.
The recycling.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, the one bid was for the processing
I see it.
where we dump it, and they kind of separate everything for us.
Thanks for that.
All right, in the interest of time, one last, Kirsten?
So I actually have 2, they're both quick. So some of the residents had put together a North End Clean Streets initiative last fall, and we actually discussed a number of the things that you're now implementing, including additional hokies, trash barrels, just a change in the pickup days. So I think all of us probably think the changes are going to be positive. One thing we were also focusing on was education. So we did put together a flyer that's much more specific to the North End than probably what the city's going to produce. If you would be interested
That would be great, yeah, I
in
appreciate that.
seeing it.
Yeah.
I don't have a copy, but I can figure out how to share it with you.
Yeah, you can do it.
And then, the second thing, different topic, Friends of Cotillo Park has been working with the Parks Department to improve the conditions in Cotillo Park now. I don't know if you know where Cotillo Park is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good, good. So adjacent to Cotillo Park is Morton Street.
Oh, yeah.
So on Morton Street are a series of trash barrels that the city has authorized businesses along Salem Street to to place their trash barrels on other people's property along Warren Street. And those trash barrels, I know there's been, an agreement written that tells the owner, that tells the business owners they have to maintain those trash barrels. Doesn't happen. So it's starting to be the summer season. Those trash barrels are infested with flies. The flies go into the park. It's not even very warm yet. And already by the swing set, it's so infested with flies. We're trying to get more people out there to use the park, but it really, the trash barrels really detract
And that's from
from
the
the park.
Salem Street or from Cross Street?
The businesses are on
Salem
Salem Street.
Right, but the
The
problem
property
one?
owners are on Cross Street.
Okay, but not all of them, right?
The only one
No.
on Cross Street, I believe, is the real estate company, so they
Yeah.
wouldn't have oil
They
and
don't
grease
have
and
They don't
all
have food
that.
trash.
It's
Okay.
not just trash, there are also
There's
grease
restaurants.
barrels.
The restaurants on Salem Street.
Okay.
And there's only about 5 or 6
Yep.
of those businesses that are allowed to keep their trash and oil on public property next to a park 24 hours a day.
Yep.
I don't know of any other situation like that. So I call it a fake permit. I've got a copy of the permit.
I have it as well, and, I'll have code enforcement go down there tomorrow. They're in the north end, by the way, every trash day, first thing in the morning, code enforcement at 6 o'clock walking the streets. So you see at least 4 or 5 officers. Tomorrow, you're gonna see a special officer on the corner of Salem Street and, nope. What's the library?
Parliament.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah, so where people drop the trash off, is that? No. Everybody walks down and just drops their bags. You can't do that.
Oh, but with the bike
Where the bikes and the school bikes.
Jeremy
Yeah,
is, you're talking
exactly.
about.
So you can't do that. So tomorrow, sneak peek, there's gonna be a code enforcement officer staking out, waiting for people. So, that's what's gonna happen, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So,
and so Pittslow Park, if you would be interested in coming
yeah,
out,
sure.
and meeting up with us, and we can talk to you
Yeah.
about that situation.
I think they were there last year to kind of get that letter going. And it's a very, I agree with you, sir, that you probably never heard of it before. I've never heard of it, but I also never heard of that kind of situation, So I was even suggesting maybe somebody go to Parks Department and talk about, that new fencing too, that like construction. You've seen those, it's like grass that grows, they put,
But
instead of.
why only those 4, 5, or 6 businesses? No other businesses in the North End are
I don't
allowed
know.
to keep their
That's
trash
why I don't-
on public property.
Right. It's true, very
So
true.
we can share
right.
the
We'll
agreement
work
with
through
you.
that, yeah.
We can meet
Okay.
with you. I'll give you my phone number. But I don't think screening is gonna work. We can also show you the rat holes.
Yep.
I go
I was
out
just
there-
thinking for looks, not so
Yeah.
much the.
It's a very narrow street, so when you leave it on Morton Street, you're basically leaving it in the playground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the problem. Well, anyway, thank you very much for your time. We
Yeah,
appreciate
first
your visit.
Thursday in July is 4th of July.
Yes, thank you.
Trash
So,
pickup?
Picking up, just like
Okay.
Memorial Day, just like every other
Oh, great.
4th of July.
Thank you, Brian.